I never imagined I'd end up sharing something like this online. But after what unfolded, I need to release it from my mind. This is the account of how my ex's thoughtless selfishness shattered our relationship in a single evening, and how the universe delivered consequences far harsher than I ever pictured. Get comfortable. It's quite the ride. I'll begin at the start, since the background really matters. I'm calling myself Alex here, obviously not my real name, and I was 28 when everything collapsed. Sarah and I had been together slightly more than 2 years. We connected through shared friends during a relaxed board game evening. She was the lively, creative designer sort, always cracking up at my silly humor, while I was the reliable coder who enjoyed organizing weekend escapes. Right from the beginning, I was fully committed. I supported her fiercely. When she lost her job half a year into our relationship, I paid her rent for a couple of months, prepared home-cooked dinners, and even assisted with revamping her portfolio until she started picking up freelance work. I passed up a career advancement that would have meant moving cities because she wasn't prepared to relocate. In hindsight, I gave up quite a bit without hesitation, because that's what real love looks like, doesn't it? Gradually, though, small fractures appeared. Sarah developed this habit of making me feel like I fell short in some invisible way. It began quietly, subtle remarks comparing me to other men. We'd watch a film and she'd comment, "Look at that. Now that's the kind of thrill I crave. You're so routine all the time." Or she'd browse Instagram and heart photos from this colleague, Jake, who constantly posted about exotic trips and workout progress. I'd dismiss it, convince myself it was harmless. Then the emotional gap widened. She'd bail on our plans at the last second for work happy hours that mysteriously always included Jake's group. One evening, I caught her laughing at messages from him. Nothing outright scandalous, but playful in a way that hurt. When I brought it up, she sighed dramatically. "Seriously, Alex? It's harmless teasing. Stop being so paranoid." I should have recognized the signs, but I stayed devoted. For our 2-year mark, I arranged a surprise getaway to a cozy cabin up north. Trails, good wine, everything she supposedly loved. She seemed thrilled in the moment. Yet shortly afterward, the distance grew sharper. Fewer daytime messages, more evenings out, with friends. I constantly felt like I was pursuing her attention, always the one reaching out. It left me puzzled and drained. Nights I'd lie there questioning myself. Am I too dull? Too ordinary? I even forced myself to train harder at the gym, hoping to reignite some spark, but it felt artificial. Then the birthday party happened. It was for a common friend, held in a trendy rented loft downtown. Nothing extravagant, just beverages, tunes, and roughly 50 people from our shared social world. Sarah had been excited about it for weeks, talking about how we'd finally unwind. The afternoon we were preparing, right in our bedroom. She was applying makeup at the mirror. I was lacing my shoes. She said it offhandedly, like mentioning the time. "Hey, Alex, when we're at the party tonight, please don't call yourself my boyfriend. Just tell people you're a friend, okay?" I stopped moving. "Excuse me." She didn't even glance over, still blending concealer. "It's no huge thing. Jake and a few office folks could show up, and I don't want any strange vibes or rumors starting. You understand how workplace talk spreads. Labels feel so confining anyway. Tonight we're just enjoying ourselves, keeping everything casual." Her voice carried such indifference, as though my feelings were an annoying complication. It landed like a heavy blow. The person I'd centered my world around was asking me to erase our relationship in public. For whose benefit? So she could chat freely with Jake? Confusion and pain surged, but I didn't lash out. That's not how I operate. I simply nodded. "All right, if that's what you prefer." She gave a quick smile at her own reflection. "Thanks, you're amazing." The car ride over was almost completely quiet. My thoughts spun wildly, recalling every compromise, every promise I'd made about forever. When we arrived, I'd already decided. If she demanded honesty without commitment, she'd receive precisely that. The place was alive, fairy lights strung up, a pop-up bar, groups chatting and laughing. Sarah quickly noticed some people and tugged me toward them. Introductions happened fast. A pair of her colleagues came over. "Hey Sarah, who's your plus one?" one asked, gesturing at me. Before she could speak, I answered smoothly. "Hi, I'm Alex. This is Sarah, someone I used to be involved with." The air thickened. Her friends traded uneasy looks and gave awkward laughs, assuming it was a prank. Sarah's expression shifted from puzzled to furious almost instantly. She forced a chuckle. Haha, he's kidding. He's my boyfriend. I just lifted my shoulders. Nope. We're keeping it friendly tonight, aren't we? We circulated a little more, and I repeated the exact introduction to another cluster. By the third instance, she was livid. She seized my wrist and dragged me to a secluded spot near the kitchen, out of sight. Her glare could have burned holes. What are you playing at? She whispered fiercely. You're humiliating me in front of everyone. I looked straight at her, composed. You specifically asked me not to present myself as your boyfriend, only as a friend. So I chose to be truthful. If we're minimizing what we are, I might as well state facts. She folded her arms, smirking like I was childish. Oh, come on, Alex, stop being so dramatic. I didn't mean act like we've split. I just didn't want Jake getting the wrong impression that I'm unavailable. He's got this major assignment soon. Professional connections matter. You're always so black and white. Why can't you go with the flow for once? It's not as if I'm crossing any real lines yet. That little, yet, escaped, and she realized her slip, but damage was done. Then came the justifications, layered with arrogance. Listen, you're wonderful in your way, but Jake actually inspires my artistic side. He's full of energy, sees the world, motivates me to grow. You're steady and secure, but right now I want more than secure. If you can't manage one tiny pretense for the sake of my future, perhaps we're mismatched anyway. I absorbed her speech without interrupting. The fog in my mind cleared completely. This wasn't merely about a social event or career moves. It was her treating me like a safety net while she pursued someone flashier, shaming me openly in the process. I didn't plead or debate. I gave one nod. You asked for honesty. So we're finished. Her confident expression cracked. Wait, what? You're ending us over something this small? That's weak. No, I replied softly. I'm simply agreeing with everything you've said. Good luck with Jake. I walked straight out the front door, leaving her frozen in place. The drive back felt surreal. I blocked her contact before reaching our place, threw some clothes in a duffel, and headed to a friend's couch. That evening I sat staring into space, hit by the injustice of it. 2 years of devotion, erased so casually. Part of me questioned if I'd blown it out of proportion, if I should have stayed and argued. But inside, I knew the truth. Her public dismissal was the genuine wound. No affair had occurred, yet, but the emotional rejection cut deeply. What I didn't realize then was that her troubles were only beginning. The weeks following were difficult, but not how most would expect. I didn't fall apart or drink myself numb. Instead, I withdrew, inwardly and from drama. I requested a short leave from work, not to wallow, but to regain balance. I stayed with my friend Mike, the one who'd quietly cautioned me about Sarah, demanding nature for months. He never gloated, just passed me a game controller and listened when I needed to talk. On his worn sofa, I mentally reviewed it all. How had I ended up as the fallback option? I'd declined that out-of-state job for her peace of mind, organized that anniversary escape to make her feel cherished, put up with her joking exchanges with Jake out of trust. Now it all looked like gradual abandonment, she withdrawing while I clung tighter. Unfair, absolutely, but shouting wouldn't rewrite history. I redirected that frustration productively. I retrieved my belongings from the apartment while she was out, placed the key on the table, and walked away. No messages, no theatrics. Silence became my shield. At Mike's, I began rebuilding in small ways. Gym sessions became routine, not to impress anyone, just for myself. I took up jogging. It cleared mental clutter. At the office, I poured energy into neglected tasks. The company later presented a comparable role without relocation. I accepted. Higher pay, more ownership. I even started counseling, not because I felt shattered, but to figure out why I'd overlooked warning signals so long. Those conversations helped me see how her ongoing comparisons had slowly eroded my self-worth. Yet bitterness never took root. I was growing instead. 2 months in, I felt lighter and more centered. Living without constant second-guessing was liberating. Around then, reports of her consequences began reaching me indirectly. Mutual acquaintances shared updates, usually because Sarah's retelling cast me as the bad guy. Jake, it turned out, wasn't single. He had a wife she'd conveniently ignored. Their affair started almost immediately after the party. She temporarily moved in with him and shared cryptic posts about fresh chapters. But Jake was volatile, charismatic at work, explosive privately. Things exploded when his wife discovered everything, sparking HR complaints. Sarah was implicated too, terminated for misusing work. Resources after messages proved she'd handled personal matters on company time. Our shared friends quickly distanced themselves. She'd criticized me as needy while pursuing a married man. Invitations stopped coming. She bounced to her sister's spare room, surviving on sporadic freelance jobs that vanished as word of her behavior spread. Jake vanished once divorce proceedings began, leaving her with debt from their impulsive outings. The irony was sharp. She'd thrown away reliability for thrills, only to be discarded herself. I never chased these details. They came to me, and I felt no joy in her pain, just quiet acknowledgement. I kept moving forward. I revisited that same cabin alone, turning it into my own peaceful escape. I dated here and there, nothing heavy, but it reaffirmed I had value. Life improved steadily. Then the reconciliation efforts began. Roughly a month after the split, messages arrived from unknown numbers. She'd found ways around blocks. "Alex, it's Sarah? Can we please speak? I miss what we had." I read, felt a brief pang, then deleted. More followed. It was all a terrible error. Jake meant nothing. Coffee. My treat. Next came voicemails, her tone unsteady. "Alex, answer me. I realize now how much I undervalued you. Let's meet. I need to explain." I stayed silent. But she involved others. Her sister phoned from a strange number. "Alex, stop being cruel. Sarah's life is falling apart. Job gone. That jerk left her. She needs help. Be a man and reach out." Her closest friend DM'd me. "Come on, let it go. She's genuinely remorseful. Don't hold grudges." It felt invasive, entitled, like I was supposed to repair her chaos. I blocked every avenue. She grew bolder, showed up at my new place. Mike must have mentioned the address by mistake. I opened the door. She stood there disheveled, eyes swollen. "Alex, thank goodness. Let me inside. We have to talk." I blocked the entrance. "No, we don't." She slipped past anyway, scanning the space possessively. I messed up completely. Jake turned controlling, shouted, manipulated, even spent my savings on his schemes. "I'm broke, couch surfing. But you're dependable. We worked so well. Remember our cabin trip? I want that stability back. I need you." The irony dripped. She'd ridiculed safe and predictable, now pleading for exactly that. I remained firm. "Sarah, you chose your path. I'm not your emergency option." Tears came. Her voice sharpened. "How can you be this heartless? After everything we shared, you're acting like I was meaningless." "You treated me as meaningless," I answered evenly. "Goodbye." I shut and locked the door. She pounded briefly, then gave up. That night brought furious messages. "You'll regret turning your back. You're nothing without me. Jake saw right through your boring personality." It exposed her pattern, arrogant in victory, spiteful in defeat. But her words no longer landed. Over following weeks, her tactics intensified. Calls from random phones, emails routed to my job inbox, marked spam, family pressure mounting. Her mother left a message. "Alex, this is absurd. We're her family. You can't abandon her now. She's struggling emotionally, barely eating. You owe her after 2 years together." Owe her for what? Enduring betrayal? More friends I'd never trusted jumped in via group texts. "Bro, give her another shot. People make mistakes." But she hadn't changed. Anger took over after repeated refusals. She posted vague online jabs. "Some people are too fragile to forgive." Their loss. It backfired. More mutuals quietly sided with me and distanced from her. For months later, she was visibly deteriorating. More jobs lost. Drama reputation solidified. Even Jake's former wife reached out anonymously to confirm he'd repeated the pattern with others. Sarah was simply the most recent. Meanwhile, I flourished. The new position brought better compensation. I purchased a modest condo, decorated it exactly how I wanted. I began seeing Emily, a warm, genuine person from my running circle. No drama, only respect. Life felt full. Sarah faded into background noise. The last encounter happened at our friend Lisa's wedding, 6 months later. I attended with Emily, no intention of hiding. The outdoor venue glowed with lights and joy. During cocktails, Sarah approached, looking exhausted, dress slightly too big, makeup unable to mask exhaustion. "Alex," she said shakily, "can we speak alone for a minute?" Emily gave my hand a reassuring squeeze. I agreed. We stepped onto a quiet patio. I know I've been horrible, she began, eyes filling. Jake ruined everything. Cheated, took my money, left me with almost nothing. I'm getting help now, working on myself. But I see clearly what I threw away. You were steady, caring, the best part of my life. Can we rebuild? I'll prove I've changed. Please. Her plea mirrored everything she'd once mocked. I stayed calm, no trace of pity. Sarah, you called me too ordinary, too reliable. Said you craved someone thrilling like Jake. You chased that, and faced the results. She winced. I was an idiot. I didn't mean those words. You're so much better than him. Give us another try. I shook my head. No. You showed me exactly what I refused to accept. Being hidden, disrespected, kept as plan B. I've created something stronger now, better career, own place, someone who truly appreciates me. You're no longer part of my story. Work on yours. Her expression shifted from pleading to fury. So that's your final answer? You're choosing her. She jerked her head toward Emily inside. She'll figure out you're nothing exciting. I echoed her party logic back calmly. Like you said, labels limit people. We're simply not a match. Take care. I returned to Emily. Sarah lingered briefly, stunned, then slipped away early. People noticed. Quiet comments praised my composure. She sent one final flood of texts afterward. I blocked permanently. That night, moving across the dance floor with Emily, freedom settled in. Sarah's actions had unknowingly pushed me toward a far better chapter. She's now a distant memory. I'm writing the rest of the story. Last note, fully cut ties with her entire circle. Still rising. If you're dealing with similar disrespect, leave with your head high. The rest sorts itself out.